Hey there guys, Mr. Zigner here. We're going to look at some more advanced functions with Google Sheets. This is mainly designed for my second and third year students for computers. But hey, there's a lot of great functions here. Just about anyone would find probably at least interesting. All right, the first thing I like to do with my spreadsheets is I'll click right up here above the number 1 to the left of the letter A, and that highlights all cells so we can just pre-format how the spreadsheet's going to look. Another way to do that is if you've just clicked out here in the spreadsheet, hold down Control and tap the letter A. Now, I love to set a font that I want to look at for the rest of our time, so I'm just going to try this one right here, Architect's Daughter. I usually like to be at least at 12 when the cells are about this size. Let's come over here to centering. This is horizontal alignment in the middle there. Now there's vertical alignment too, which you could set to middle. However, these cells are not very tall, so you're not going to see really much of a difference, but nonetheless, I'm going to just click on middle there. So in B1, I want to put the word data. We're going to keep track of our data there. But I think I want to leave room in our data table here for maybe 5 numbers. So I'm going to really quickly highlight 5 more extra cells here. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Let's put some border around that. Kind of in a blue mood today. So I'm going to use like maybe a dark blue, a little bit thicker lines here, and just hit all cells. Also, I'm going to go back to B1, put a fill color behind that, and that's looking good. One thing I feel like changing, I'm going to hit Control A one more time. I think I'm going to maybe make things bold. Yeah, the word data jumps out at me a little bit better there. I like that. Let's just make up some numbers here. What can we pretend we're doing? Maybe math tests. Okay, here's our scores on our math tests. So we got a 72, we got a 95, 80, 84, and we studied really hard and got a 97. There we go. So there's our data. So over here, I'm going to just skip one row, and we're going to make a 4 by 2 table. I'm going to set it up the same way I did this one. We'll start with our borders, hit all borders. Those are already pre-set up. I think I'm going to use the same blue fill on the left here. So that would be, let's see if I can remember what color I used. I think it was this one. Yeah, there we go. And now sorry about all of the interruptions. I'm recording this at school.
Please bring your items with you. All
Average,
please report to the cafeteria.
average,
Bring your
if,
belongings with you. Thank you.
count, and count if. All right, there we go. So, wow, that was a heck of an interruption. Sorry about that. So average, what we want to do is find the average of these numbers. So that's equals average, and then opening parentheses. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. You could type these cells in, or I like to just do this. I'll click on the first one and drag down to the last one. So you can see there it's B2 colon B6, but that's if you wanted to type them in manually. So we want to find the average of those numbers. And there we go, 87. Now it's suggesting an autofill, but I know that those are wrong. If ever this pops up and you know that it looks like you know that it's right, you can certainly click the check mark, but I already know that these are incorrect for what I want to do. So I'm going to reject that suggestion, but thanks Google, appreciate the attempt there. So now average if is a little bit different. Average if, instead of just saying equals average, it's equals average if. And you can see that popping up right away. All right, so now how this one is formatted is, once again, we start with the cells that we want to find the average of, okay? But then there's an extra step here. So we put a comma after that. And now what we want are numbers that are, let's say, how about numbers that are greater than 80? So it looks like the only score that's not greater than 80 is that 72. So here's what you have to do. You actually get a quotation mark, and then we say, so numbers that are greater than 80. There we go. And we close those parentheses. So looks like, oh, I'm already getting a pop-up. So the average of the numbers that are greater than 80 is 90.75. So there it is, equals average if, opening parentheses, B2 colon B6, the numbers we want to find the average of, comma, now separated and in quotation marks, greater than 80. I could have turned that around and done less than 80, but the only number less than 80 was that 72. There we go. So that's average if. So it's basically limiting which numbers you want to find the average of. So that's an interesting way of doing that. Now count. Count's very simple to type in. You just do equals, and you start typing the word count, and it should pop up pretty quickly. There it is, equals count. The number of numeric values in a data set. Well, how many numbers do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, I'm just going to click on the first one, drag down to the last one, close my parentheses, and press enter. Yep, 5 numbers. And now count if, you can imagine it's very similar to count, except now we're going to put in an extra rule of which numbers to count. Equals count if, and there it's popping up, a conditional count across a range. How about we'll do all of these numbers, but now comma, only the numbers that are, and again in quotation marks, how about only the numbers that are greater than 80 again. So close those parentheses. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to close the quotation marks first. And now close the parentheses. And you can see that 4 already popping up because there's only 4 numbers up here that are greater than 80. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So that's the beginning of this new advanced formula spreadsheet. Next one's kind of fun. In fact, I really enjoy a lot of these next slides. So over here, let's just maybe skip a row. I'm sorry, skip a column, and let's make a 2 by 2 filled in bordered table. How about this time we'll set it up the same way. So I got that same blue there. In this one, could you type today? And right here, birth date. All right. Or you know what? Instead of birth date, how about we do New Year's Eve? Oh, that's a little too big, so I'm just gonna drag that out. There we go. Gosh, I don't really want to do that. I think we're going to leave it as birthday. I guess it's okay if everyone knows my birthday. Or maybe I'll make up a fake one. There we go. I don't necessarily want to put my actual birthday out there on YouTube, but I'll just make up a fake one. All right, so today. So here's the formula for always bringing up today. Now you might think, well, what's the point? I could just look at what the date is and type the date in. Well, here's what's nice. If you're going to use this Google form over and over, you could actually set this up and it'll automatically put the date no matter what the date is. So this formula will change if I bring it back up tomorrow. So you're actually going to see today's date when I type this in. So it's equals today, and there it is. And all you have to do is have opening and closing parentheses. You don't have to put anything inside. 0, nothing inside those parentheses. And now that's going to constantly update itself. So today is November 29th, 2021. And it'll always fill in today's date. So tomorrow it'll be 11/30, 2021, and so forth. Again, that's not what I want to do, so I'm going to reject this particular one. So now I said I would make up a fake birth date. So sorry, I'm not going to let you know my birthday. Equals date. Yep, equals date. Converts year, month, and day into a date. And we're going to use this as we go along. So now you just put in the actual date you want to bring up. Now you might wonder, why is this a good thing to do? Well, just so you are aware, and there's other formulas that can then use this particular function and calculate some other things, which I'm going to show you in a few moments. So let's just how about, I'm going to make up a fake birthday here. So here's the formatting for that. You put in the year. Okay, so let's just say 1965, which is not the year I was born, but close. And then you want to put in the month. So after a comma, you put in the month, let's say October, and which is also not true for me. And then finally pick a day here. Well, I'll just put in Halloween here. So October 31st. There we go. And close those parentheses and press enter. Now, not very fancy. It just puts the date in. Now you might think, well, why? Wouldn't it be easier to just to type a date in instead of using a formula to put a date in? And I agree. At this point, it seems ridiculous to do that. But wait till you see how I'm going to use this. So here we go. Let's come down. We'll skip one row, and let's format this the same way we've been doing. So again, all borders. And then right here, we're going to make that blue color again. And in here, how about we do... Gosh, how many days there are until a certain date? So, so we're going to take our date and we're going to subtract today. All right. So here's how that gets formatted. It basically turns into a subtraction problem. So equals date. So we're going to put in a day that we want to find out how far until it occurs. So how about we say New Year's Eve. How many days till New Year's Eve this year? Okay, so I open my parentheses today. This is the year of 21, comma. New Year's Eve is on 12, comma, 31. There we go. Close those parentheses. So how many days until New Year's Eve on December 31st? Now what I want to put is a minus sign, and now here comes that other formula we did recently, today. Click on that, close my parentheses, and so how many days until New Year's Eve? Well, it turns out it's 32 days. And now here's the great thing. Tomorrow, when I bring this up again, it'll say 31, and so forth. All right, again, skipping a row, and so that's a great thing to use as a countdown timer. All right, so again, all borders. We'll make this one blue. So what am I going to do here? So how about how many days old I am? So days old. All right. So how we set up days, how many days old you are, is it's kind of a reverse subtraction problem. So what we want to do is take today's date. Remember, see, this is why I was doing the formulas date and today up top, just to show you how to format them, because now we're going to use them. So equals today. Now we open and close the parentheses, minus, and now we want to actually put in our birth date. Now again, I'm not going to put in my real birth date, equals minus date. Okay, so I forget what I was saying. Oh, there it is, up there. I said I was in 1965, comma, 10, comma, 31. So I was born on Halloween of 1965. That is not true, but whatever. You can put in the date of your birthday. And again, that's formatted year, month, day, separated by commas. Close those parentheses, and so it looks like I'm over 20,000 days old, if that was my actual birthday. I'm a little younger than that, but there you go. So that's how you figure out how many days old you are. And I'm sure most of my students, that's going to be a much smaller number, maybe like 1/4 the size. All right, let's move on. This next one is called Sparkline. And what it does is it gives you a quick little graph of a set of numbers, just to give you an idea of what the graph would look like if you made a more fancy one. But it squeezes a little line graph into one cell. Confused? Well, let me see if I can explain it. So how about we go and let's just grab a few cells in this direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do maybe 5 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 cells. You know what? I'm going to put it down here, straight across from Countif. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, great. So I've got my 5 cells here. Actually, I'm sorry, my bad. We need a 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's, excuse me, put our border boxes around that. Okay, and let's just make up some numbers here. How about I go a bigger number, like 95, and then how about 12, and then maybe 44, so it went up a little bit. Let's go back down to like 3, then back up to maybe 120. All right, so you can imagine if this was a line graph, we start up pretty high, then go down, then back up, then back down, then back up. All right, so just so you know what this is, let's come to this cell. Again, put a border box around it. Let's make it that same blue. And let's just type the word Sparkline, S-P-A-R-K-L-I-N-E, Sparkline, all right? Just so we're aware of what this formula was doing. So yeah, it actually, when you put your equal sign in, start typing the word spark. And look at that, pops up right away. A miniature chart within a single cell. All right, so now we just have to tell it which cells to make a graph of. So I love to click and drag, so that would be this cell all the way to this cell. So we click on D11 and drag over to H11. There we go. Close my parentheses, and let's take a look at this graph. Again, it should go start pretty high, then go down, then back up a little bit, then back down, and then way up high. Let's see what it looks like. And there it is, almost like a kind of a capital W there. There we go. And that's Sparkline. Interesting. So if you just need a quick look at a graph and to see what a bunch of data is doing, this really gives you a quick look at that. All right, the last thing on this page that I want to do is Google Translate. You can actually translate words. So I'm going to put these two cells together, and we're going to merge those. So my students, you have to merge these two cells. Where's my merge button? There it is. And so we're going to call this Google Translate. Okay. And now we're going to highlight, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, maybe down here. So, or we could maybe make it equal to the days old thing. All right, going to put our border boxes around that. How about we make this header that blue color again? All righty. So let's just make up some English words. Pillow, television, lamp, computer. What else? Paper. There we go. First 5 words that just popped into my head. So here's how Google Translate works. It's an interesting formula that was included inside of Google Sheets. So it's equals, and we start typing Google. Oh, there it's popping up already. Google Translate. All right, so now how this is formulated, what you want to do is first click on the cell you want to translate. So I want to translate the word pillow. And now you follow that with the language it's currently in. So I type things in English, so I'm going to put in quotation marks EN. EN is for English. Then a comma. And then you would put in the code for the language you want to turn it into. So I want to do Spanish, and maybe at first you might think that would be SP, but it turns out it's Español, so that's ES. And there, you can look this up real easily. Do a Google search and you'll find the other codes if you want to turn it into French or whatever language you want to translate things into. So here we go. Gonna do our opening and closing quotation marks with ES inside of it. All right. And so how does pillow translate into Spanish? And there we go. I didn't know that. But I don't want to keep having to type that over and over and over. So here's a nice thing we can do. We go back and click on that cell. I mean, you could do that, but I thought it'd be a little bit faster. Now here's what we do. When you click on the cell, you should see a blue box in the bottom right corner. We click and hold on that box and drag down to the last cell we want to translate. And there we go. It copy pasted that formula down and realized there were other words over here, solving that. Okay. So that is part 1 of the video. There is going to be a page 2, which I'll do in my second video, and I will post that soon. But let's end this video now. Thanks for joining me, guys. Bye-bye.